that one a couple years ago and stuck.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Oh man, it's a beautiful Monday on the House Walker Files and Global Enlightenment Radio Network with your known psychic Chris Garcia, co-hosting Christopher Fisher, and we do have a very special guest back to the show, Stephen Jack Edwards. So, dude, I'm so happy to have you back. Oh my God, you know what? I said to myself, I have to have you back. So now that you predicted, you know what? Just give a little bit of bio, and then we can go from what you said before, and then what you have, any news coming up. So can you give a little people a bio about you?
Oh, bio about me. All right. Yeah, I grew up here in San Antonio. Went to Jesuit High School down the street from a few of you in the area. After that, I went ahead and joined the military. Eventually, through my work in the military, I got into special operations. Once I finished up with special ops, I transferred to the civilian side of the house, and I continued doing the same work in different garden spots around the world, to include time in Iraq and Afghanistan, helping take care of some of the garbage that we needed taken out that were causing problems for everybody. After that, I went ahead and called it quits at 2017 at the urging of my friends and family. And since then, I've been working with MUFON and a few other organizations to bring light to the world.
Wow.
Recent ray of light we gave you was back in February, or maybe it was even as early as January, on some other shows, and we warned of the coming virus.
Wow. So, is there any updates that you need to tell us? Definitely, because remember how you said that there was going to be a whole nother change. Can you just tell us?
Okay. Now, everything I told you pretty much came almost exactly as I said it would, correct?
Yes.
There was one final thing I warned the audience about before it was all over with. And this is the most critical piece. The warning that I given, the final warning I was given in that series was, do not take the vaccine. That has not changed.
I've been telling people that because I'm in the trenches on Twitter and familiar with all that stuff. And none of them right now are approved for humans.
Right.
Wow.
Even when they do approve them, and they will magically approve it, they will have not undergone the rigorous testing that requires years to be properly evaluated for humans. But there's a lot more than that. And if you look around on the internet, there are people that are waking up and realizing the dangers that this particular series of vaccines will pose. And it's not just one or two facets, but it's multiple facets that are going to negatively or adversely affect people in general.
Oh, can I tell you one of those facets, since I'm familiar with the testing? One of them actually make you have a mild infection that make you feel like death, a really bad flu-like symptoms.
There have been a lot of reports of adverse effects, such as the people flu-like symptom or a cold or whatever you want to call it, which is like, well, if you just gave it to me, then what was the purpose of giving me the vaccine in the first place? But there's a lot of stuff that's even worse coming. Again, I don't want to get into it. That would be a whole new show altogether. But the warning that I have still stands. Do not get the vaccine. If I hear otherwise from the people that I trust, I will pass that message along. But for now, they are very adamant. And these are people way up.
Wow.
They're making it very clear, do not get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, can you go into detail without saying so much? Can you say why we can't take the vaccine? Can you tell us what ingredients or what does it have that reason you can't tell us?
He can't.
It's better it's important that you do your own research, because if I spoon feed people everything, what have they really learned?
Nothing.
Exactly. I'm just going to give you the breadcrumb. You're the one that needs to follow the trail. Otherwise, you learn nothing. And along your journey, along your trail, you're going to start to wake up and see a lot of other things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I have an interesting question for you, Ben.
Oh my God, this is gonna get good. I can already see it. Go ahead, Christopher. Throw questions at him.
Did you see the extremists agitate protesters, people that infiltrated the protests that were agitators. You've seen that?
You talking about like BLM and Antifa?
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you what. If we're going to go into non-UFO stuff, I'm going to change my background because we're getting beyond the purview.
No, it's okay. You don't have to change it. You could leave it like that.
No,
It's good.
no. It's kind of a requirement. Let me change it up real quick. I'll be right back. But we'll comment on it. But it is a non-MUFON thing, and that's why I need to do this. This was an issue that came up a while back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No. We're good. We're good. Let me get something more appropriate since we're going to go out off the beaten path.
In your back field.
While you're doing that, I got another question too. So when you said with the vaccine, when you said the vaccine, and you said that you cannot tell us why, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I'm picking something up off of that. There is something that they're putting, what they're injecting, that's making this people sick, and that's how they're getting COVID. Is that correct?
That wouldn't be with the vaccine because remember, people are already getting sick from COVID anyway. Now, the question is, well, at the end of the day, I've met a lot of doctors, I've met a lot of nurses almost on a weekly basis ever since this, even long before this started. And then starting to look at the documents and the reports that are coming out, not just from America, but from other countries. And then from our own experience working with people that have COVID, and my wife working with people that have COVID. For example, she volunteers her time helping people get to the doctor in the Philippines that have cancers and are not able to get past the checkpoints because of transportation issues or what otherwise. So she helps them out. So she learns a little bit herself. Now, at the end of the day, we looked at and all these different issues, if you are a healthy person, you may supposedly be positive for COVID SARS-2, all right? But if you're healthy, you're not going to die from it.
I'm one of those that is not.
So if you're not healthy, you've got what they call I can't even speak tonight, comorbidity issue.
Mm-hmm.
You do want to protect yourself. It's a small group of people. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And so it's important for you to protect yourself. And if they can get you in a controlled environment and not freak out about everybody else and focus on the ones with comorbidity type issues, then they can provide you with the care that you need so you could get infected with the virus and actually survive it. Now there's
I have a comorbidity that isn't listed in the common list. It, because the mortality of it in the United States is in infancy. That's how rare my stuff is, and Chris can tell you a little bit about it. But in Europe, it is where you'll find more adults with what I got, and most of them that got COVID died.
Right, and again, it's a comorbidity issue. Even CDC has come out recently and never announced it, but they quietly updated their numbers, and so it went from 150,000 deaths due to COVID, and they finally admitted it's only about just under 10,000 deaths due to COVID.
Interesting. So everything you
can find it on the CDC website. So as they went along, these things that they were pronouncing and putting out, which was all part of the plan, they've had to backtrack on because they've been called out on it. And the truth about the virus is starting to come out now. But they've used the virus to promote a narrative or an agenda that we've seen this whole time.
Wow, interesting. You know what? This is very knowledgeable when you said, and I'm still trying to, I know you said that we have to do our own research, but I'm going to look into it, Stefan, because when you said do not take the vaccine, there's something there. There's a link. What is the word I'm looking for? There's a better term for it. It's not a mistake. You could say it's a mistake, but there's you know what? I got it. There's an error.
The external information I'm getting from a trusted source or sources.
Mm-hmm.
And I just focus on me, Joe American, looking at the data that's available and getting the blinders off, not falling for the popular opinion, not falling for the in thing, which I see a lot of. Oh, if I don't support this narrative, then I'm not cool like everybody else. Screw that. I don't care about being cool. I'm going to dig into the nuts and bolts and see it for myself. Now, I catch a lot of hell for it. But hey, if you don't want to drink from the water, that's fine.
Chris, I'll give you a hint what's in it. I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you, but go look it up.
If you really want to get into it, you need a different show because it's a lot of information.
Just type in zoonotic disease, corona. You'll find that on your own, what serum they're using.
Wow. This is getting interesting. I love it. I love it. Oh,
Let me put it to you this way. Back in the 2000s, I was quarantined in an Australian hospital for about a week with the virus that was like the corona.
SARS?
Are you serious? You had Wow.
They had SARS outbreak where I lived. I lived in South Florida. So you had SARS?
They didn't know what it was, but they knew it was a corona family style virus at the time. They ruled out flu, but whatever it was, I was a very healthy special operator in my prime, and it knocked me into the dirt. I remember waking up. My friends woke me up. My coworker said, "Hey, dude, you're supposed to go catch your flight with the." It basically was the guys that killed Bin Laden, the helicopter guys. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why I overslept, but throw my gear on." And they realized I was really sick. And at that point, they said, "You're not flying anything tonight. You're going to the hospital." And I got drugged to the hospital.
Wow. So, but when you said that, it was similar to the corona, but when this happened to you, how long ago was this, if you don't mind me asking? Do you remember?
Oh boy, this was around 2007.
SARS.
Wow. So then basically what you're saying that they already had it, but it wasn't corona, it was something similar.
Remember,
symptoms were
viruses. It isn't just SARS. It isn't just COVID. There's others. And remember, out of China, these things get mutated all the time. The key about COVID-19 was it's pretty much been proven. Of course, there's still people denying it, that this was a man-made virus. And eventually it will come out and it will be undeniable that this was a man-made virus. Right now, you still got your naysayers, but I'm telling you, it's man-made. You're just going to have to trust me on that one.
You know what? I do trust you on that, because you hit it right on the money. When I don't even remember what Daryl asked you. You know, it was funny because we got you good that time, and it was just weird. And now that we mentioned that, what I was going to ask you something is, when you were asking, and you don't have to change the background. We can just go from whatever I'm being told to ask you.
We'll just stick with this.
Okay, yeah. What I was going to ask you, can you go into detail? Where did you, or how do you want to bring up the weather in space? Can you can you be more specific why you felt that we could talk about that?
All right, space weather. I think a lot of you have noticed, and I may have alluded to that before, but there was a previous question that you had, and I want to knock that out before we forget, because we will be covering space weather. And your previous question was regarding Antifa and BLM and the fact that people were essentially unhinged. If you were able to catch the show on Informative Info, because I don't believe I was able to identify it yet, the information that came to me around late April, early March. And the message that was given to me was actually twofold. And one was a little confusing because it was from a different source. But the image I got was essentially, people are going to become unhinged. People are going to be acting differently, more aggressively, more impatient. And what started happening in May.
Oh, so that does that have to do with the weather and everything that we're talking about right now?
A small part of it, yes.
Oh, yeah, you're correct on that, because I am very well researched in this stuff. The people that stir up this stuff, I know how to use the API on Twitter,
wow.
Like how the bots use and stuff. You
Wow.
search criteria, make it
I'm
goes
just blown
back
away.
to
Oh,
2014.
and for Nikki, we had him back in February. He predicted a lot of stuff, and you just heard him loud and clear. Everybody that's watching the show, please do not take the vaccine. He said that there is more to it, but we have to do the research. And he knows a lot. He knows about because he's part of the MUFON. I actually met him in person. They talk about aliens and spaceships. So he's a little bit of knowledge in other aspects, not just with that program, but he's knowledge in other areas. So I'm going to tell you right now, he's very good and he knows his stuff. That's why he looks familiar to you, Nikki, because you've seen him before. And for other people that say that they've seen you and you look familiar, you've been on other shows, right, Stefan? Is that correct?
That's correct. I've been on Informative Info quite a bit. I provided them with a lot of stuff that helped out the audience. Again, one of the things we warned about on that show was not just what we talked about back around January, February timeframe, but we also talked about people becoming unhinged. We talked about the increasing suicide rates. These are all things that are happening right now. We were expecting another incident to happen, but it seems it changed the way it was supposed to take place. The people that, I guess you could say, orchestrate these events decided on a different path than what we were informed they would take. But the same effect was there.
Are you surprised I know it's outside orchestrated?
See, that's between you and him. Y'all know a lot of stuff. Christopher knows a lot of stuff still. I don't know, when we had you on, he was not the co-host. He was just a call-in. But now that he's part of with me now, he knows a lot just like you, and you can see it. I don't even have to tell you because y'all can talk and because you know your thing and he knows his thing. So he's very knowledgeable about what things that I probably don't even know. Like he just told me I need to look it up, and you know what, Christopher, I need to for later on. Send me that link on Messenger so I can do the research on the vaccine because I'm curious now.
By the way, cytomegalovirus is in the same family as coronavirus. I'm just only going to tell you that.
Okay, well, you can tell me later, or just look it up on. Just send it through Messenger, and I'll just do the research because I love to learn, and it's just crazy. And you know what, Stefan? What do you remember? What we asked you on the last show?
Which one?
Back in February. Do you remember all the questions?
You guys asked me a lot of stuff, so you're gonna have to be specific. You guys are nailing me left and right with questions.
Okay, you know what? I don't know if this goes. Okay, you know how you said the weather in space, and I don't know why I'm being thrown to tell you this. And with the weather in space, God, this is weird. Does the weather in space have anything to do with all these weird weathers that we're having down here?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it is, or we can't do that, or you can't tell us either?
Or we have to look it up.
Are you familiar with the Planet X system, or what they refer to as the Planet X?
I've heard of that on other shows.
Dwarf, isn't it?
Right. Those of us that are willing to go out on a limb, yes, it is a brown dwarf. It is not just a star. It's not just a planet. It's an actual system. If you look out in space and you understand the different stars and planetary systems that are out there, most systems are what they call binary systems. It appears that ours is no exception to that rule. Now, for the longest time, we've assumed that we were a single sun system. It's what we were taught in school. And so when people started looking at the writings that were not just done by the Sumerians that were interpreted by Zecharia Sitchin and others, but when they started looking at all the different cultures around the world, such as the Chinese culture, which has been around for thousands of years, and a few other cultures, they began to realize that there was a lot of evidence indicating that we do, in fact, live in a binary system, and that this particular sun comes through our area or comes close to us in its orbit roughly every 3,600 years. Some say it's sooner, some say it's later. But for the sake of argument, we're just going to say 3,600 years. That's something that's going to have to get fine-tuned as science progresses. Now, when this all came out, all the major scientific heads around the world were like, this is all bullshit. poo-poo. There's no such thing. You guys are crazy. You're misinterpreting it. I'm like, okay, fine. But as we've gone further down this path of time, organizations such as these universities and NASA have gone from saying it's no such thing at all to, oh yeah, it looks like there is something far out on the outer reaches of the solar system, to, oh yeah, it's really big, whatever it is, to account for all the perturbances and the gravitational fields of all the different planets, to, okay, here's the actual orbit. Okay, now this. And as time progresses, they reveal more and more information about the system they supposedly knew nothing about. Remember, just 10 years ago, this system never existed, according to them. But here we are today. You can do a search on any mainstream scientific website and then make it very clear that there is something else out there. Okay?
And you know what they just recently discovered? You probably won't be blown away. They found brown dwarfs that have the same temperature range as Earth.
Right. A brown dwarf doesn't have to be hot. A brown dwarf can actually be a very pleasant temperature.
It can even be below sometimes right at freezing.
Wow, that is crazy. And for
You can
Nikki,
find water clouds on them too.
and Nikki, you said that you wanted me to tell him about the download you received, but you've been downloaded a lot of stuff, so I don't know what you're talking about. It would be better if you call in, because the last time we had him back in February, but the thing is, I don't know what you would want me to ask him. So it would be better if you call in, because we learn, when we have somebody like this on the show, and it's very interesting. It's very knowledgeable.
I want to talk to him.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He knows a lot of stuff. I told you.
I do have a show.
He does. He has his own show. Yeah. And you know what I was going to say and you just validated what I said with the weather, space, and that it's affecting everything down here. What if, okay, the question I'm trying to figure out how to ask you. Does that affect us, with the people that have gifts, like why we're getting all these weird premonitions and dreams? Because I've noticed I've been getting weird dreams. I don't know and I've always felt like this stuff, that there is something in the air. Like, how like when you're at home, you feel secure, but when you leave out of your house, it feels heavy. I know there's something in the air, but I can't pinpoint what it is, but I know there's something there. Can you validate that there is something that is in the air, but we can't see it?
Yes.
Okay. See, there's my validation. See, I knew there was something in the air, because people have said, don't you just feel different? I mean, of course, oxygen is all around because of the trees. Once we cut those trees, that where the carbon dioxide, I can't even talk. Carbon dioxide goes into the trees. If there wasn't for those trees, we would be poisoned. Okay? We need the trees. But even at that, with all this oxygen, it's all over, and it's all over the world. But you could tell that there is heaviness that you cannot describe. There is something near that, and I know I'm not the only one that feels it.
It's not just a physical manifestation of heaviness, but it's a spiritual heaviness as well.
Yes. Does that include, hold on. Okay, Nikki, I'm going to try to read this. The visual and auditorium download of the scientists, the government officials from 20 countries, the military officials were from risk countries, all involved in the official created of COVID-19 virus, and exactly how was it? I can't pronounce that word. Okay, I'm going to spell it for you. DISPERSED. Dispersed. Sorry.
All right. As far as COVID being dispersed, I don't know of any specific plan by anybody of how it would have been dispersed. That I don't know. I can come up with theories all day long, and if I really put the brain power behind it, I could probably figure out how it was done. But the easiest way to do it without getting a lot of attention is to have an event such as a sporting function in a place like China where this would allegedly started. And you start it there because that's where your biggest numbers started kicking off at. And a lot of people do business in China. And so with all those people going in and out of the major cities doing business in China, it isn't long before they all get infected and then take it out to their own respective countries to make it appear as if it was an epidemic or pandemic that originated in a specific country. That said, if you were and for a term that I actually invented long before it became popular in media, a deep state, or what I refer to as shadow government, which I started picking up on back in the early 2000s. Those are the individuals that orchestrated this. Regular members of the United States government or official U.S. government did not do this. Official members of the Chinese government did not do this, representing their governments. This was done by people that have their own group that do not recognize national boundaries. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that.
Wow. That's just amazing. See there, Nikki. I hope you call in. I hope your cat feels better. By the way, and she did say correct, so she did hear what you say. But Nikki, if you want to ask him any more questions, I would say this is a good show. I'm going to tell you right now. So thank you for
call in.
Yeah, that's what I told her. And you know what? I'm going to ask you another question. This is something that I felt, and of course, we wear it just to protect ourselves. Is the mask 100%?
Hell no.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Are you serious?
The mask is all right. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts of the mask. If you look at the mask, especially the masks and the scarves and the bandanas and everything everybody's wearing, it's really going to not stop anything. Even when you start looking at the fact that the virus itself will go through just about anything, even a proper N95 mask, the virus by itself will still go through that mask because of how small it is. Now, the key in protecting yourself is the assumption that the virus will be attached to water vapor from your body that you expel or phlegm or anything else. And so that because of that, that particle is actually much bigger and it will get caught up in the mask. But the problem is a lot of people aren't truly wearing masks that will actually protect you from anything. It's a false sense of security.
That's why you have to triple mask.
Yeah, and it does make sense because, yeah, and that's something that, and I kind of felt.
If you're healthy, you don't need the mask. Just go out there, live life. Don't be affected by the fear. Don't be held down by that. That's only going to make things worse for you. That feeds into that fear thing, that oppression that everybody feels. All right? Go out there, live your life. Okay, but remember, you still have a responsibility of protecting the elders and those in your family with comorbidity issues. So if you know you've got to protect them, you need to keep that in mind when you're out doing what you do. There was a young lady in San Antonio, and I'm not going to name names or go into specifics, but she went and protested. And when she went and protested, which is, you're right, you can protest peacefully, but she went and protested with a bunch of other people, and they all got COVID because a few of the protesters from out of town. They were the organizers, so to speak. They all got,
wow.
She came back to her family to celebrate. It wasn't a quinceanera or anything like that. It was another type of celebration. And everybody from the entire family was there. And everybody in the entire family also caught COVID. Now, everybody that was healthy, they were sick for a couple days at best. But unfortunately, the grandmother in the group was dead within a few days.
Wow, that's
Protect your
interesting.
family.
Oh
I
my
recommend
God, I just got chills.
triple
You see, I just-
masking or the P100 mask, which will filter.
Wow, I just got chills when you said that with the mask. And
Here's the other deal. I know there are some scientists out there, and you've seen it on the social media, that recommend hydroxychloroquine. If you can find a way to get hydroxychloroquine, then I would do that, especially if you've got a family member that has a comorbidity issue. So if your family member does get COVID, rather than being put at a higher risk by going through the official methods and end up passing away, they can do the hydroxychloroquine and probably have a better outcome.
Scary part with hydroxy, though, you have to do it before you get it because it's ineffective once you catch it.
No, it's still effective. There's doctors that are out there that are saying it is still effective even after you walk in with the symptoms of COVID. They will immediately prescribe it to you along with things like vitamin D and zinc and a few other things that they will recommend that will help boost immune system. My big thing to my family in the Philippines was get out there, get into the sunlight, take your vitamins, eat healthy, get in the sunlight.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
This is just amazing. You know what I'm going to tell you? You know, when you talk about the mask, and tell me if this is right. When you said to live our life, but to be cautious and, you know, to be careful, you know, of course, distance. But the thing, what I was going to ask you, behind that in the spiritual aspect or in a, I guess, physical, or I don't know what the proper word is, but just with the mask over our mouth give a little human talk. It's like something's trying to tell me to be quiet.
Well,
it's almost like it doesn't give us the freedom. When we put that mask over our mouth, that freedom's gone. Okay?
Right, your
the freedom
taken away.
Yes, your freedom of speech, I'm gonna ask you a question. Is that why they tell us to wear the mask? Or there's more to it?
There's more to it. And again, I don't really want to go that far down the rabbit hole just yet. It's still a pretty sensitive subject for a lot of people. I think once we get past a certain point, I would be willing to go into more detail. I'm still waiting for some information to come in to validate or verify that particular aspect. But I do believe it is part of an agenda because it's certainly not about your health. I believe I'm going to go out on a limb that part of it is more about compliance.
Compliance.
Point.
Are you talking about compliance like with the phone?
An order or an edict or a regulation or a law that's put down upon you, whether it's legal or not for that matter, and that you willingly comply with it even though it makes no damn sense.
Wow. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. So that what can they get you to do in the future that makes no damn sense? Yeah, it does. And you know, with all that stuff, you know what's weird too, Evan, is that with, you know, when you talk about the space and, you know, and you validated that it does affect here on Earth, can that space weather, can that affect to create earthquakes and unpredictable weather in unusual places that don't have that kind of weather?
Yes, it can.
But how can you go into detail with? Go ahead.
Once you start changing weather patterns in one area, there is going to be a cascade effect. And what's affecting us in one area isn't just affecting the one area, it's affecting other areas as well. They're all being affected at the same time. And it's not just our planet. What our planet is encountering right now on a geomagnetic level, on a volcanic level, on an earthquake or seismic level, is taking place exactly just the same on all the other planets. If you look at the scientific data on what's happening on the other planets in our solar system right now, the same changes are happening. Measurable changes, visible changes. All the systems are being affected, or all the planets in the system are being affected, not just ours. So what does that mean? It means there's an external force or an external factor. And that's where we believe part of it is the binary system, what they refer to as Nibiru or Planet X or the brown dwarf or whatever you want to call it. But that binary system coming in is having an effect on all of the planets, to include ours, and that includes weather, it includes people's behavior, our Schumann resonance, our not the ionosphere, but the magnetosphere is being severely affected and tested almost every day now. If you go look at the Schumann resonance on the internet, and you watch, you'll see some very noticeable oddities about the Schumann resonance. That's essentially the heartbeat of the planet, the way some will refer to it as. And whenever that resonance goes off, it affects all living creatures on this planet, not just us, but our pets as well. When your pets start getting more clingy, more skittish, more afraid, that's them telling you that they sense that something is wrong because they are also being affected.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that's weird. Now that you said that, is that why because my dog's been doing this, I think, I don't know if it was before or after. Dog just paces back and forth and he follows me everywhere I go. Can that mean something too?
Yes, they feel comfort being around you. That's why it's
Oh
important
my.
to spend time with your families right now.
Caller.
Yes, we do. We do have a caller. This is getting so damn interesting. We do have
I know who it
206,
is.
206, 206. We do have a caller. 206. Unmute star 6.
Mm-hmm.
Press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi guys, it's Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. I'm glad you called in. This is my friend Stefan. That's why he looks familiar. He knows a lot of stuff. So go ahead and ask him whatever you want, go ahead and ask him. Go ahead, take it away, girl.
Well, take it away. That's an interesting thing right now. Anyway, so in March I had a download. I know that Chris described what it was on in the chat. More specifically, it was I have faces of scientists stuck in my head. I have government officials. Yes, I have different countries with government officials. We're talking presidents of some countries, dictators of other countries, military officials. I don't even know how. I recognize faces and I recognize uniforms, but I couldn't tell you at this exact second what countries they were from at this moment. I'd have to go piece by piece because the download hit me so hard and was so fast. And I was actually on a conference call with a bunch of friends, and they saw it happen to me, and it was extremely invasive. I have voices of different officials stuck in my head as well, images of scientists and I'm going to call them medical personnel. I'm assuming they were specialists in their fields, working on the design. I didn't understand what it was until I knew it was some type of virus based on what I saw on the images of the computers. How they were working scientifically, things that I couldn't even possibly know. I'm medically oriented, but not like that.
And that's a different field.
Yeah, yes, a lot of different fields, and I'm like, I became very overwhelmed with all of it. And there were 20 governments involved. UN never entered the field regarding, I never thought of the UN being involved in it until somebody, like a month after I received this download. It didn't even occur to me because I was just still trying to piece it all out. Figuring out who the military folks were from each country. Many of them had been in the media over the last many years for different reasons, one reason or another. So there's that. Then there's things about how it was dispersed, that it was done in an aerosol spray. It was sprayed on doors. I'm not going to say any more than that.
You sound like him because he can't say too much about it. Did you hear about the shot that we're not supposed to take it? And he won't go into detail. We have to do the research, Nikki.
No, there's no way I would take. I wouldn't go near that vaccine. No way. They'd have to take me in kicking and screaming, and I would fight every step of the flipping way. There's too much information that I've received psychically about stuff. I'm like, no way in hell am I going near that. And I'll fight family members. I'm like, no, don't do this. There have been other downloads that I've received about planetary issues. There have been significant planetary issues I've received about Earth. I'm extremely sensitive to the magnetic shift. Any magnetic shift regarding this planet nails me every time. Typically I get really sick. In the 90s, it was awful. Early to mid 90s, there was a major magnetic shift, and I talked about it for years, and nobody that I was around at the time could explain to me why.
There wasn't enough knowledge to understand it back then.
Bingo. Yeah, bingo. And that, a number of years ago, I found out, oh yeah, we had a major magnetic pole shift, and that's what I was telling people, was that there's something wrong with the poles. And sure enough, the poles shifted. So yeah, there's a lot of information that I've received psychically, and
it's not within your field, right, Nikki? Because you're getting all these downloads and you're like trying to comprehend what's going on. Like with me, I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Like just yesterday, Stephen, I kept seeing 33333, and I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me? Like psychically, I was like, oh my God. I said, I know I'm getting a hit on something. I still haven't figured it out. And I kept seeing it in my head. Like I would close my eyes and I kept seeing 3333, 3333, and I'm like, okay, now I'm seeing.
Wow.
I was like, this is weird. And I didn't talk about it to nobody, because usually when I have premonitions, I post it on Facebook, but something said, do not post this on Facebook. And I didn't do it. I don't know why, but something said, do not post this on Facebook. Because now because with my premonitions that I've had from back then till now, everything's making sense now. Everything that I've seen that has made sense. And, it's just, and it's weird that as we're talking, I'm learning a lot more. And you know what's funny? When you're talking about this and Nikki's saying this and you're saying this, Stefan, and Christopher saying this, by any chance, and I already know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask a stupid question. Do the 5Gs have anything to do with everything outside of COVID, or is it together all in one?
About the 5G network?
Yes.
I will dabble into that a little bit. Right.
Go ahead.
Let's go grab my coffee real quick.
This is getting
some caffeine before I start using the bigger brain function.
Okay, take your time.
You're right
This
back.
is good. This is good. And you know what, Nikki, when you saw him, what did you get off of him before you called in?
I know him.
You know him.
I have not actually met him, but for some reason I know him, and I don't know if it's from different shows that I've watched on YouTube, because I don't get the History Channel, which is being part of the UFOI team. That's a kind of like a big no-no, because we were part of Seattle and
just got chills.
Dealing with the History Channel when they were coming out with their, God, I can't even think of the name of the show at this
I know,
second.
we're actually
Project Blue Book. So
wow.
we were part of the Seattle opening for that, but it was a big event. But it's most likely from the different shows I've seen, but very, very familiar voice and face.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to tell you. What do you think about Tessa having him on her show? That would be amazing because I think he's
That would be.
knowledgeable. Yeah, he would open people's minds not only in a spiritual aspect but scientific and everything that he has discussed.
Yeah,
It's
I think
like
it's a good idea.
it's a good idea to have him and spread them out because he might not say everything when he said we have to do our own research, but just
Well,
you know
yeah.
but there's just some things that when he's hitting these pointers, it makes you think, and you're like, what am I missing? What is it that he knows that we don't? Some of
Well,
us.
there's a lot of information that MUFON has that they can obtain, and I've got to be careful with what I say now, but there's a lot of information that they can obtain via various methods, and
that's only to protect the corporate and themselves, correct?
yeah,
I kind of figured that.
That's one way of putting it. So they've got a lot of contact. MUFON has a lot of contacts. We've got a couple of excellent MUFON groups in Washington State, and a couple of really good. We've got SUFON, Seattle UFO Network, and then we've got an Olympic MUFON, and that's on the Washington Peninsula. That's at
Wow.
Port Angeles. I always get the two goofed up. Anyway,
I know it.
And they've got an excellent director there, and she's on my Facebook page, and unfortunately I can't think of her name. I am so sorry, sweetie. Her name just went right out of my head. Maureen. There we go. So yeah, they've got a lot of really good contacts and good information.
So they have got to be careful with what they say. Yeah.
Well, yeah, with the amount of contacts that they've got, yeah, it's got to be done very carefully. So, and there are things that they can and cannot talk about, which is understandable, and yet at the same time, there's a lot going on in the governmentship of MUFON. So, it's just...
Remember, back in the old days, they would kill people if we revealed too much information.
Oh, yeah. They torture you.
Up until the 80s, people that were involved in the study of UFOs and MUFON in general would be killed or disappear if they revealed too much information.
That's like the doctors and the scientists. I mean,
exactly.
I've kept track of that. I had a naturopath back in the early 1990s who was like, you need to keep track of what goes on with science, because there's actually doctors who are being murdered. There are scientists who are disappearing and having mysterious car accidents, or who are winding up dead in unusual ways. And I went, what the hell are you talking about? And sure enough, over the years, that's exactly, I started keeping track of different things in different newspapers. Different people would hold on to their newspapers for me, different cities. And you'd find somewhere buried in, page, 15? Sometimes it was further back. There would be this little 2-inch clip article about how this scientist ended up dying, and I'm like, what? This is not, why is this even making news? And they were in the midst of being on a breakthrough of something big, and I went, oh God. And of course the news buried it. So you keep track of all of that over the years. There's been hundreds, and I'm like, damn, that's not good. That's not good. That's fact. You go back into history and you start looking, start doing your own research. That takes place.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And See, it's funny because I told Stefan what happened to me as when I was young, and there's people that already know, and like, I think Christopher, I think I told him, I don't remember, but that's a whole nother show. But that only tells you that I think somebody told me this. The way that topic about what happened to me is like a meeny miny mo kind of thing. And what the thing is that they have right when you leave the hospital, right when you're born, they already know everything about you before you even your parents know. So it's kind of like they follow you, so to speak. And now it's coming to me very clear, Nikki. I remember a long, long time ago, you told me, Chris, you know a lot of stuff. You need to be quiet. You're talking too much. And now it's starting to make sense because in my aspect, Stefan is a lot more knowledgeable in his aspect. But when it comes to me being a psychic, there might be some things that he knows that we don't. And if I'm picking it up and I'm saying it, I'm a target already. Correct?
As
Yes, I'm
long
a
as you
correct.
walk the fine line and you don't reveal everything that you know.
Bingo.
There's a time for everything. You don't have to spill out every single nugget of knowledge or wisdom that you've gained from whatever source all at once. There's no need to do that. If you data dump everything, one, you put yourself at risk. Two, you've done your audience a disservice because it's important for them to digest the information, that little nugget of wisdom that you've given them, and then hopefully they learn from it, and then they start doing their own studies, their own research. And once they do that, they become stronger as well.
Yep.
But if they sit in their comfortable chair and just suck everything in and don't do anything for themselves, they're no different than the sheep in the house next door that refuses to acknowledge any of this.
Bingo.
That is true. It makes a lot of sense. And you know what I was gonna say? Now that you got your coffee and you're functioning, can you go into that question if you remember about the 5G? Does everything connect?
This is what
Okay, go ahead.
They're developing. It's actually already been developed. They're just waiting for two events. Now, what they've developed is a type of jewelry or ornamentation, if you will. Watches, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, similar devices. A lot like your Fitbit. And what it does is it's up against your skin and it measures your respiration, heartbeat, pulse, pressure, hormonal balance, sugar levels, what your heart is doing, what your emotion. It measures all of that at about 60 times per second. So it connects to an AI system. And the AI system analyzes all that data. It builds a baseline for you on what the normal functioning Stephen Edwards is supposed to be in a normal environment. And when you start to deviate or your body does certain things, your levels get off balance or off kilter, it will know. If you start behaving erratically, it will know. And it can do things based on that data in a fully functioning 5G network integrated with other AI systems. And this includes banking, all of your banking. We are in a transition in banking right now. I was given a message a couple months ago, and that message, and I had it confirmed several times over the past couple months. And the original message I was given was, we have the ability right now to switch our financial system overnight from cash to all electronic currency. It's already there. And I confirmed this with actual bankers here in the San Antonio area. Can this be done? And the answer was yes, absolutely. We can literally flip the system, and overnight we will no longer use cash, period. It's all ones and zeros.
Yeah, that's already in the process of being done.
That's some scary crap.
That's one of the reasons why we're dealing with the quote unquote coin shortage. What a load of crap that is. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, it's already in the process. I will not go computerized unless I'm forced. I will not. I don't buy anything online. I don't. No way in hell.
You know what's
We're not that far off from that happening. As a matter of
I
fact,
know.
bankers
That's
just
what
had
worries
a
me.
meeting a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, I guess laying down the next iteration of the roadmap on where they're going with this. Now, of course, none of that information has been released yet. Not yet. It will get out. It's just a matter of time. Because remember, they are required to warn us. They're required to give us a heads up. It's a weird game they play. But as soon as I get it, you'll get it.
wow.
Interesting, because back in trying to think before we moved. So 2013 and 2014, I was talking to different bankers and telling them something very similar to this about how there was going to be a major change. And I remember one of them specifically saying how it would be better in the long run if we all did that. And I went, wow.
Right.
Didn't expect that answer from him. Don't know why, I just didn't.
They're going to make this new transition to the banking system, and there's going to have to be a hiccup.
Sure.
And I have an idea what it is. I'm not willing to go into it yet. It's a little more complicated than what people are assuming it's going to be. There's a little bit more to it. Again, I'm not ready to go into that yet. I'm waiting for more to come in. But we're looking at two, I guess they would say 9/11 equivalent events, and it doesn't necessarily mean body count. But the word I was given was two 9/11 style events that would magnitude, which would cause people to beg for the devices that would allow them the protection that they would crave or desire because of those events.
That follows right into, wow. Okay, in the last 5 weeks, I've had other downloads. And in the last, 3 weeks, I've had a download that deals politically. It then went into a very serious combination of issues that creates, I'm trying to be really careful.
I know.
I apologize because I want to say what I want to say, and I know damn well that if I say what I want to say, I'm going to have Secret Service at my front door. I've already had 2 visions of that. I don't care to have another one, and I really don't want them at my front door. I've had both of them. I've had visions to where I've had 2 Secret Service agents and a sheriff's officer at my front door. No flipping way in hell do I want that. Thank you very much. I do not want all of my psychic journals confiscated by the U.S. frickin' government. Pardon me. Real pesky over that.
It's okay.
Anyway, so the point is that there are major events that are about to take place because government somewhere gets inaccurate intel, deliberately inaccurate intel, and they run with it. Fucking stupid. Pardon me. F word. F-bomb, sorry. So, yeah, they're major, they're like a 9/11 style incidences, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And one of them is so bad where the only thing, there's another psychic that I know, and in the end of July, beginning of August, she was in the middle of a psychic read for somebody on a live broadcast. And she had spirit guides interrupt her, and she went, no way in hell am I saying that on air. And she had this verbal conversation with them. She got kind of pissed. And the next thing she said is, I will state this, save the children. Well, that follows suit with exactly what I saw. I don't ever care to see happen what I saw happen in the download I was given. It was horrific, absolutely horrific, and it's based on bad intel. I don't care what government it is, check your frickin' intel. You do not want to see this happen. And supposedly it's supposed to happen in September, something else in December, and then again at the beginning of May, some major changes. And
that's what he said too.
Massive events.
That's what you said, Stefan. Remember what you said before when we first started?
This month we're going to start seeing it. This month flipped. It was supposed to be around the beginning to the middle of this month, and there was a change. It's, for whatever reason, it's going to be at the end of the month, and the first thing that I see happening is the meteor issue. Now, remember, I have warned you about this before. I may not have. It may have been another show. Forgive me. But I warned that we were going to start seeing increased meteor activity. And one of the signs that this was for real was when we start seeing a lot of stuff on social media and regular media about the meteor problem. And it was in July when this uptick would be.
I like this guest.
And
I know.
I was given downloads on this at the beginning, at the end of last year into the beginning of this year. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's not only that that's supposed to be happening, there's also a solar wave. A solar wave that actually, I guess it's scientifically called an
EMP?
EMP. Thank you. And it's so big that what they don't realize, they know the science, supposedly the scientists, this is what I was told, supposedly the scientists know the first one is coming. What they don't know is there's something that is behind the sun that ruptures, that is going at tremendous speed, beyond imagination. I mean, it kind of blew my mind when I saw this. It ruptures through the sun and creates another EMP wave. Solar wave is how it was termed to me. Is the only way they could describe it to me, because I didn't understand what the hell an EMP was. I didn't understand what an EMP was until just this past month. And that one is the one that disrupts the earth. And I'm like, okay, we'll see what actually happens.
That's some scary shit. I'm sorry. Oops.
It was very. So when he's talking comets and asteroids and all of that, it follows right in suit. I've been talking about the same thing, and I think a lot of psychics have been. I think it's been. I think a lot of psychics have been read in via spirit guides and by the powers that be, because they want people as best prepared as they can be. And that's not such an easy thing with an entire world filled with people who want to be oblivious.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was gonna ask you, Stephen, when you said that with this big change, and you said that people were gonna start acting kind of strange. Now, and this is just a question because I need to know.
It's gonna get worse.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. You said, it's gonna affect people and their behavior.
They're gonna
now,
get
as
worse.
far as for the people that are not awakened and not aware about,
they're more
psychics and but what does that do to us as a psychic? What does that do with the changes with the behavior? Are we going to be affected?
You will be affected, but it depends on how you are grounded in your faith. Now, this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. If you are grounded in your faith, and I'm not going to tell you what faith that should be, but when you are grounded firmly in your faith and you have that standard, that guide of what you follow and how you treat your fellow humans, and you stick to that, you will overcome the challenges that are affecting everybody. But if you are not grounded in those principles, that faith, like Christianity or Judaism or whatever, and you're not firmly rooted in that, you will fall susceptible to these outside influences. these external influences, you will become more unhinged. You'll be more aggressive. You won't be able to think as clear. Now, don't get me wrong, those of us that walk in faith will still have our challenges, and we still have to constantly remind ourselves what's right and what's wrong. You know, you may get amped up and you may get aggressive about certain subjects or topics or events that you're involved in, at a disagreement with somebody. But you have to remind yourself, you know, that's not the path I want to go down, because that is not the right path. And you have to restrain yourself and hold back and not fall into that trap that many others are falling into.
Wow. That is just amazing. I don't know, but I know. Go ahead.
Connected to the collective unconscious is what I'm going to call it. When you're able to tap into that, and many psychics are, you are more in tune, or you're more, you can be more influenced by these things. But again, you as long as you're rooted, you're grounded, you'll be okay.
Interesting. That's good to know. That was why for me, because I'm like always, you know, I've always kept myself, you know, humble as I am, and keep my composure, and still reaching out to people and helping them, and I'm not going to change. And like Nikki said, they're going to take me and take that damn shot. I'm sorry. They and you know what's so funny? And I remember my friend Donna told me this years ago. With the people disappearing, I know this now. I'm starting to see everything from the past till now. And they did this, I think last year or 2 years ago. There was a lot of trains passing by. Okay. There were caskets in the trains. There was camps, isolated camps that were built. Okay. With those camps being built, if you disobeyed, either you disappeared, you got shot, or there was just no trace of you whatsoever. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm putting everything together from back then till now, and I'm just the feeling I'm getting. I don't mean to say it, but it's scaring the crap out of me. But I'm keeping myself grounded. I'm aware of what you're saying and what Nikki and Christopher and everyone's saying, and I'm acknowledging it, and I'm just like, damn, you gotta be kidding. Everything that they've been doing, they've been planning it way before even this damn COVID came.
Oh yeah, this is planned long ago. These guys that are behind this have IQs far beyond us. These are very, very smart individuals. All right, one thing, and there's a couple things I want to touch on before we forget about it, and it's with the 5G part again. With 5G, a lot of people are asking the question, why do we need so much bandwidth? And that's a very good question, because we, right now, with our devices, are only capable of utilizing 5% of that available bandwidth that's going to become to us through the 5G network. The other 95% of that data bandwidth that will be available is going to be used by the AI systems that is managing everything. Remember that.
I was wondering about that.
The next aspect of it is transhumanism. That should be a buzzword that people are starting to pick up on now. This is something I learned about a couple years ago, but it is gaining traction in the media through guys like Elon Musk. And they're talking about how important this is, because they've said that humans have to be able to keep up with the AI computers, or they would theoretically take things over. And they actually went to the White House, and Elon Musk and a few others warned President Trump and maybe even Obama about the threat that AI poses if left unchecked. Excuse me. And their plan was to give humans the ability to connect or jack in and be just as capable, if not smarter than the AI itself, to stay one step ahead of AI. And this is where the Transhumanism Project comes in. But when you do this, you no longer are human. When you jack into the AI system and the Transhumanism Project and you change, you are no longer human. That is a very important thing to remember. The last part of this I want to share before we lose track of the 5G issue is, I would like you, the viewers, to watch 2 Japanese animations that came out long ago. And there's a reason I watched these as a kid or when I was younger. The first one was Ghost in the Shell. Then Ghost in the Shell 2. Not the crappy movie they had Scarlett Johansson in. Watch the original Japanese animation. You should have no problem finding it. Ghost in the Shell 1, and then more importantly, I believe, is Ghost in the Shell 2. And this will give you insight as to the dangers of transhumanism. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that subject.
Wow. That's just blowing my mind. What do you think about all this knowledge, Christopher? What do you got to say?
Yeah, really, really, really spot on. A lot of same stuff, and I was holding on to things, and there's some things I won't discuss. I heard in dreams and stuff, so it's really, really crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's just so mind blowing that it's just amazing. I don't know if Katie, if you're there, I was gonna take this break because I just want to take this break. So if anybody's gotta do what they gotta do, restroom or just do whatever. And Nikki, you can stay on because this is just amazing with
You're
all of us
welcome.
together.
Oh, I've got questions.
I know, so you don't have to hang up, Nikki. But we will take this break, guys, on Houseworker Files and Global Enlightenment Radio Network. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
stuck in the struggle and I've been wondering if I'm ever gonna bubble. I'm getting caught up in the tussle, steady using my muscle. And every time I extend my heart to my mother, caught up in the game, now I'm back up in the hustle. Sometimes I sit in the wonder if a nigga pull my number, if it wasn't for the bump of fam in this world where nobody don't give a damn. But I'm still a man, got a soul program, I'ma pump my fist. I'm staying ready for this, and you can put this on wish. I never see the abyss, and when I needed a ride, you wouldn't give me a lift. And now I'm popping my wrist, you niggas all I'ma think I wanna change the world, you wanna change your life. I wouldn't put up a fight if I knew it was right. They say everything happened for a reason. Can you tell me why these niggas bleeding? Needing general assistance. I'm here needing public housing. I'm here trying to make ends meet, trying to get on the feet, but see, I'm really so cloudy. And I know what you don't know. You better get on your mission and get down for your dough. See the real niggas ready out here taking control. See, I'm screaming I'm low with my pockets on swole. Please, Mr. Postman, quit bringing these bills to my house. Quit bringing this stress to my spouse, cause I'm ready for the kill on. Look out, look out. If you niggas try to run up on the bone, I'ma show you like this, I'ma pull my chrome. I don't wanna have to send a nigga home. Lord, please take me home. Come and take me home.
Looking at my money now, they can give it to when I was living foul. I was running wild, surviving. I'm from 9 to 5 and even putting overtime if I had to grind. I was swinging up, hanging up on the block, taking a dozen the cops clocked on the night shift. Didn't think I'd ever make it out of the ghetto, but we finally made it. Stay dedicated to the music we made, yeah. Now it's on Bone Thug, leaving on, came back the next year. #1 platinum song, we blew up from the dome. Then what do you know? Easy, rest is so. Left us in the mess, I don't regret it, but we better get up and get it gone. Everything's going wrong. Since you're bone and it's been right. I knew it would have been on, we would have been tight. We would have been in the zone, riding so high. Off in the game, by does lie. See, we used to love making music, we was always in the studio grooving. We kept it moving, we was ready to do it right. But you know I'm going through it and they feeling this rap thing right now. They got me tripping, ready to flip. They got me tripping, ready to come get my chips. They got me tripping, loading the clip, they're tripping. Lord, I feel like I'm losing it right now, right now, now.
Pretend to be tough, pretend to be blessed. They want money and women, it's never enough. They in a rush, hope nobody don't trust too much. You better be good, you know I'm on the hood inside. We get them to talk, ride out laughing up. When niggas die, niggas ride around nasty drunk into the grave. I've been one of the brave, not one of the slaves, and one of the pain, and every one of the same. Stay hazed and amazed by the television, run around till the niggas be better behave. God in the place and they grin right in front of my face. Instead of the fade of a break with hate. Sweet as the cake, I take another breath and shake. That's all of the rock, it's all about heartache, hard to wait. Lost mommy, poppy, left home. I miss Fish, Uncle Charlie. Sit missed in the records, out of his selection. This game is probably my mind in the song. Crying for the life of you gone. Just me and my destiny, let's roll. Let's roll.
Part of me went wrong, and then it happened when the bone was coming up so strong. We just wanted him to see what we do. You motivated us at the shows we seen you, and I really hope they listen to what we spit on these songs. You might have been through something, hoping nothing like home. Like one said we never make it, like 230 mil in their faces. And I really thought someone put us on and he left, crossed over. Back to the hood, we soldiers. The music didn't make it back scandalous, but fake kicked in award shows and we winning now. Gotta keep it coming, food in my baby's mouth, and things have changed like relationships. Ain't did nothing, now you one flip. Suing me for things you would never made on your own. Now I understand why thugs nigga leave the hood, buy a bigger home. Stick in the hood, mess with scrubs in the arm. Be gone, you can't really help a country if it ain't meant to be. With a little ooh-wee, with a little ooh-wee. I'm tired of trying to help these thugs. Lord, just got them home, got them home.
Walker Files on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. And we only bring it to you on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network with the House Walker Show, guys. We just bring it home. So I just had to just put that out there. But thanks back, Stefan, for, having a good guest. And this is, and you know what, for sure we will have you again. I know we had you back in February, but this has been amazing. You know what, I'm thinking, I was going to ask you a question before, because I know Nikki was going to ask you some questions. Without saying so much, when would you think you would have details with something that you can discuss on the next show that we would have you back? Would it be like maybe next year? Because I don't want to have you like within the same month. So today's the 31st, so would we have anything by November?
November would be good. I mean, if you want, we can go as early as October, because I strongly suspect we're going to have a lot to talk about by mid to late October.
Okay, so then we can do that. We can definitely schedule in October. But it's just amazing to where I'm glad I had you back, and I'm glad I met you. There's no coincidence why we met. I got a chance to meet everybody at the MUFON, and it's just, you're like part of my family now, and it's just, and oh, by the way, I was going to tell you too, my mom told me to tell you hi.
Oh, good lady. Good lady.
But yeah, we will have you back in October. So now that validates something else. It's just, I don't know. It's just amazing. And for Nikki, I know you wanted to ask him a lot. I mean, we can keep him on. We could keep him on forever. He would spread us so much knowledge. I know.
So if you want to keep this thing going, I'm good.
So go ahead, Nikki. If you're still there, Nikki, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
Oh gosh, where did my questions even begin? Well, you talked about. Yeah, go for it.
You said you remember me from before. Do you remember from where?
That's what I've been trying to figure out. I've been trying to figure out if it's from, like, YouTube videos that I've seen. If you've been on, I know your face, I know your voice, and I've been trying to place you.
In the club, there's quite a few folks that say that. So somewhere, people are seeing me from something, and I haven't been on that many shows, but yeah, that seems to be a resonant theme in my life. People run into me and they know they've seen me from somewhere. Have you been in the military by chance?
No, but I've had friends who have.
Are you? Where are you at in the U.S.?
I'm just outside of Seattle, Washington.
Okay, because I did spend a little bit of time up there for about a week doing some work for the government.
Mm-mm.
So
wow.
No. Yeah, that
it's deja vu. That's all I'm gonna say, Nikki.
Yeah, I've got friends who are military, many of them who are passed and who still to this day provide me information, and I'm like, okay. I've got a couple of them that are like, nope, shut your mouth, girl. I'm like, yes, sir.
There's probably a lot of them that are afraid to talk right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's even on the other side. They're like, there are things that we've told you that you're not supposed to know, and I'm like, oh, isn't that lovely? So it makes things kind of interesting, say the least. But no, I'm not. I'm not in military. Never been. Have had family in, but yeah.
And I was going to ask you, Stefan, for people maybe that if they heard you, what other shows were you on that you can say?
Right. I did a Chris Holm. You're familiar with Chris Holm, aren't you?
Sounds familiar.
Yep. He was at a couple of the MUFON meetings before everything got shut down.
Oh, okay.
But I did do a show with him, but it was more of a podcast and a video show. I think there was another show I did with another channel, maybe one of the paranormal groups. And then there was, I did a lot with Jared Mosqueda on Informative Info. So if you guys like to get into the political side of the arena, that's his bailiwick. And I was on a lot of those shows. I try to avoid politics because it can get really messy. And, you're going to think one way, you're going to think another. I try not to get stuck in either paradigm. I'm kind of, and I've got my own path. But regardless, I'm on his show, particularly on the Wednesday nights at that time, and we discussed a lot of these things that we're discussing now. So it's possible you may have picked me up that. I started on his show around the same time I started with your show, Chris. Since then, I've opened up my own channel, Team Brave New World on YouTube. And when I get the time, and it's hard because I've got such a busy schedule, I try to put things out, especially things that are time sensitive, to at least prepare, warn, or educate the audience on very important topics that are coming out. A lot of times I get it right. Sometimes I get it wrong, but unfortunately, that's the nature of this business. Sometimes the people that give you information are just giving you just enough to get you down the path, or what they've been given isn't 100% either. It's very difficult in this business to be 100% correct. You can't do it. But that said, I try to give you what I get, and it helps. It's made a difference in some people's lives, and that's what I mean.
And you know what I was going to ask you, and not to bring up some subject, but did you, if I remember correct, did you say Donald Trump was going to make an announcement or something? I don't remember. I think it was something about sightings, or do you remember saying that?
I may have, and he's made quite a few announcements since then. But there's going to be more.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. Is he going to win the election? With all this stuff? Oh my God. Not what I wanted to hear, but you said the truth.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't always like the truth I give, but it is, I don't go out of my way to lie to anybody. I just don't. I upset a friend this weekend because of giving the truth, but it's what I see.
Okay, so now if he doesn't win, if he doesn't, what would be the reason why he wouldn't? If he didn't,
the shadow government would interfere in the political process as it was designed.
Correct.
That would be the only way that he would not be elected.
Correct.
Based on the current mood, based on the current mood of our nation, and remember, here's some important detail. Our nation loves underdogs. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Our nation was founded on being an underdog. All right. So that said, a lot of us in America have come from other countries, and in a sense, we were underdogs in these other countries that we came from. So all of us are underdogs. So we root for underdogs. Trump was the underdog. Whether you love him or hate him, and I know a lot of folks in this community don't like Trump. I get it. Believe me, I understand you. I understand where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, love him or hate him, the guy does what he says he's going to do. And he has done some good. Believe me, it's hard to believe, but the guy has done some good. He's also been prevented from doing more good that would benefit everybody. Remember, not that long ago, Trump was a Democrat. Now, a lot of people are going to be shocked when I just...
2014.
Oh, my God.
I know his personal life. I'll get into why I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, Christopher, that's not something you want to talk about.
I know. Nikki. Oh, you know what, Nikki?
Yeah, there are certain things that I know when Christopher starts. He'll go in detail, and I'm like, sweetie, oh my God, I love you. Please don't. I don't want him in trouble.
He's an underdog, and I know how he's going to win, and I'm not going to say that either.
Oh, I so wish I could say what I see.
Well, go ahead, Nikki. You know this is an open...
No, I don't want Secret Service on my front door. Thank you very much. Nope.
Okay, you've seen how I bring things out without telling everything, but I'm at least able to give the audience a clue.
Yeah.
Even completely in the dark. Do you remember the quatrains of Nostradamus?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very well.
Create your own quatrain. Use allegory. You don't have to say it directly. You can use another method by getting the word out. It's just like the deep state guys do, or the guys with the Brotherhood of the Serpent. They do movies, they do music, they do things to warn you of what they're going to do or what's coming to meet their obligation to warn the people of what they are doing without telling you the 100% truth.
And the vulnerable, if they have a way out, they better get out. Because of his proposals, I've
You know what,
I know
Nikki? You
about
need to
both.
friend request him. You need to friend request him at the end of the show because I think you and Stefan would hit it off too.
Does he actually?
Oh, there would be a lot to talk about. Trust me.
Yes, yes.
I do attend to my Facebook page regularly, and it's just a regular guy page. If I do not know you, do not send me a friend request. Now, in this venue, we know each other, we understand each other. But if you're in the audience and you don't know me, do not send me a friend request. I will not respond. I'm sorry.
That's how I am.
If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me to the YouTube channel, Team Brave New World, and all the data's there. And yeah, I'd love to have you guys go onto the show, chat, comment. If I do the live shows, I try to give you guys a heads up at least 12 to 24 hours ahead of time, so that while the show is going on, we can chat in the sidebar, and then we can go into more detail about certain subjects there.
I wonder if I could talk about this. Certain persons like myself who really don't have survival acumen.
Yes.
We're going to be quite vulnerable.
Yes, you are.
After this, some of the things that are being proposed. I have seen things, how to get out of it and stuff. How do I protect myself, as I really don't have a way to do it?
All right. What you need to do is check the different Facebook pages and look for organizations in your area, homesteaders, preppers, things like that, that can help, you can integrate with. So they can help teach you, guide you, get you down the right path, educate you on how to prepare for circumstances where the government can no longer help you or provide for you, where you're left to fend for yourself, or you need to do what's called a bug out and go someplace else, ideally away from the city, because when things go bad, you do not want to be in the city.
Correct.
You will be like one of the sheep in that video, I Go To.
I had dreams of people becoming indentured again.
Wouldn't surprise me in the future.
Yeah. You know what?
Okay, I've got a question.
I'm getting
Go
really,
ahead,
really
Nikki.
freaked
I
out.
know we all want to.
I know you are, Christopher. Take a deep breath, sweetie.
Go ahead, Nikki.
He's getting overwhelmed. I can feel it.
I know. Yes, I know.
So my question, you had said you worked with the military here. My question to you is, now it's not about here in Washington. Have you ever had to deal with black ops, psyops before in
No.
any part of, okay,
No, I won't touch that stuff.
okay.
I'm glad for that. You're playing
Yeah, you're fortunate.
Yeah.
Very,
and-
very fortunate in that.
And the thing is that since you're so knowledgeable, I'm gonna ask you, Stefan. Do you feel like there's a lot of people that are watching what you say, even though you're coding it in certain ways, so to speak?
Not a lot, no. Is there a handful? Yes. But is there a lot? No. They're not going to devote that much bandwidth to me yet because I'm not high on the radar. They might have one or two folks that will dial in from time to time. Let's see what this crazy bastard's talking about this stuff.
Oh shit!
But
So
I'm not at a point where I would put myself truly in the center of their radar yet. No.
okay.
I understand their concerns and I get it. I understand it. And that's why I'm very measured in what I do share with the audience, because I don't want to cross any lines. I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah, and you know, and you've known me forever. You know, since you met me, and Nikki's known me. Well, Nikki, how long have I known you?
Oh God, that is a good question. About 2 years.
And within the 2 years, she told me to be careful, and to keep my mouth shut and not to say too much. And she's known
Yeah,
me
that
2
was
years.
within what, six months? First 6 months I knew you.
Yeah, because
'Cause I
there's so
kept-
because remember all that stuff that I kept seeing, Nikki, and it freaked me out because I was like, why am I
Well,
seeing this like?
The things you're
Yeah.
still seeing. You're still
Yes.
seeing certain things that deal with.
With everything that we're talking about, yes. But it's but it is encoded. Like I'm gonna give you a little instant. I'm gonna make it short. There was this one dream where Where was I? It was me and my friend, few people behind me where I used to live, which I'm just gonna say, but I'm not gonna tell you where it was on Mission Road by Roosevelt. Okay, we used to live there. And I remember having a dream, and for some reason the guys, oh, let's go down the river. So we go down the river, and
Journey.
you know, like you're by the bridge, right? And I kid you not, Stephen, like I was going down, and like even though the sun was way up there, I could see like a reflection, and I'm like, what is that? So I went down there, and me, of course, in my premonitions, I went to go look. So I didn't have people with me, but they were kind of like a blur. I couldn't make out who they were. And I remember telling Nikki this, and me and Nikki talked for like at least about an hour or two on the phone. And I remember walking down, and they're like, "What are you looking at?" I said, there is some kind of case under this water." And they're like, "I don't see anything."
Some kind of what?
But it was like you know how like there's treasure.
A case.
It was a case.
CASE.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a case, and it was like it had like a golden color to it. And I got in the water, and you know how it has that sticky green stuff. If you're not careful, you slip. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I opened it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I saw this gold, and it had like this Chinese design on there, and I'm like, "Why am I seeing this? And why?" And I kept looking all around, like if anybody was watching me besides the people that were here with, in the dream with me. So I said, you know what, I'm just putting it back, and I covered it up like I didn't touch it. And there are other people were like, come on, let's take it. I'm like, no, this was stolen. And they're like, how? It was perfectly set in an area where you would think if it was upside down or sideways. No, it was perfectly set, like if somebody just put it there. So we go up the hill on like where that bridge is. All of a sudden we had these guys, men in black. They had like tuxedo. They were like had like hats. I guess first thing I thought they were like a mob. Okay, to be honest with you. And they had the gun, and they had these guns where you cannot find like at a gun store. They had like one of those long ones, and they said, take us down where you saw that treasure. And I'm like, and I played stupid. I was like, what are you talking about? And one of them said, yeah, down there. And they're like, where down there? And I said, shut up. I said like that. So I somehow got ready, started running and started shooting, and they kept missing me. I could see like the bullets just going, like it was almost like, what is that movie? Matrix, like where you just go, where you just, everything's slow movement. I told Nikki about it. And the thing I came up with, I'm actually going to put this on the air, and I don't care. I'm just going to not go into too much detail, but I will tell you like this. What I picked up when I had that premonition, I freaked out. I called Nikki, and I said, Nikki, I need to talk to you. Are you busy? And I messaged her on Messenger. And she goes, what's wrong, hon? And I said, I told her everything I said. She asked me, what did they look like? And I said, I know they're not the men in black, Nikki. You don't even need to tell me. I know they're from somewhere else. We both came, yeah. We came up with the fact that that treasure was stolen from China. Okay? Somewhere in between the conversations, I'm not going to say too much, there was an exchange with that guy, the one that Trump met, the one that killed his family. I forgot his name. Oh my God, I can't fucking think of his name. What's his name? The one that killed, the one that over there, he met him, and he had spiky hair, but they kept thinking, well, he just kept postponing. I can't think of his name, but anyway, I told Nick, I said, there's something to do with, what do you call those people that they see their money, like the stock market? There you go, the stock market. And I kept seeing like something about this gold that it was coming from there. Somehow it came to the United States. Some people got an exchange. Donald Trump was involved in this. Okay, I'm just going to say it like that. Or somebody was in the White House that was involved in this. They took that thing. Somehow somebody could see a car running. Somehow they stored it up in an area where the cops or local enforcement didn't want them to know where that treasure was. And we came across it. And that was, I don't remember when I had that premonition. It scared me. That was one premonition. I had another one, but I know we don't have that much time to talk about it. but that one really scared me because I was like, what?
All
Why am I
right.
seeing this?
We
Because
do.
I had like,
The audience should be familiar with it and get smart on it. It's called Nesara, Nesara, and Gesara, Gesara. Long story short, when a financial system collapses and changes or metamorphoses into something else, under this new system that we believe that they're going to try to transfer to, a lot of people will end up getting money to make up for problems in the past. There's a lot more detail to it. I'm bringing a girl onto my show in the next week to go into more detail about Nesara Gesara. She knows a lot more about it than I do. And so if the audience wants to learn about it, that's the show to go to. But people will be given money, if you will, or credit through the electronic banking system, no longer actual dollar. The currencies will most likely be based on the gold standard. And so right now, if you've got the extra money, you may want to seriously consider buying silver and gold right now. They are forecast to go through the roof in value. And if we transfer to this new system, it will be based on tangible assets such as silver and gold. And that's why the values of those items will go up significantly.
wow. So then that basically
I was-
saying that premonition I had something to do with what you're just discussing, right?
Probably.
Oh my God. Thank you.
I was told platinum years ago by a military friend. I was told get the bars of platinum.
Any metal, any precious metal,
Yeah,
silver, gold, platinum, palladium.
because I thought gold and silver would be the thing, and he was like, no, get your hands on as much platinum as you can. I went, wow, okay.
Platinum is fine too.
Yeah,
I was just stunned because I would have thought that gold and silver would have been the key factors.
No, they'll still be valuable. That's not going to change. And it may
That's
have
it.
more of a percentage increase over the others. May. I don't know yet. I'm not a financial expert. Not going to pretend to be. Nor am I a doctor.
Wow, that's just amazing. And you know what, Nikki? When I told you that, do you remember what month that was in?
Oh my God, that was last year.
That was probably back in. Do you remember it was fall or winter? For some reason I want to say the spring. For some reason.
Yeah, that's kind of along the lines of what I was thinking of, because it's been at least a year.
Yeah, and it was weird because everything he just said, it just validates something because there is
April.
a stock trading or market or something. Because when I saw that, what got me, Stefan, is, yeah, and seeing there you go. That it makes me wonder, why did I see that? And everything from my premonitions to Nikki's premonitions, all the downloads we're getting, all the weird weather, it's all connecting. Sorry to admit it, guys, but this stuff is it's all connected. Somewhere down the line, it is connecting somehow in some shape or form. I'll go ahead, Nikki. I'm sorry.
I've also got questions regarding how the ETs are involved with different governments. How that plays into all of this.
Right. Through MUFON, I've learned that certain types of ET groups, particularly the Nordics and the Tall Whites, have been working with our government since at least the 1950s. There was a NASA scientist or rocket scientist who came forward recently with his own video describing his relationship with one of the Nordic women, and where she would help guide him in his process of developing the transit systems for the astronauts to ensure they were able to get to the moon safely. And he realized that some of these ideas he thought were his were not, but it took him a while to get over his ego and pride, and years later, the benefit of age, when you realize that some of these ideas that he thought were his really weren't, and that these women, because they are capable of communicating telepathically, were able to subtly put those ideas in his head to make it feel like he was the one that was constructing the engineering solutions to create the devices needed to get our men safely to the moon and back. Yes,
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
They're very, very freaking good at mind manipulation. Very freaking good at it.
Now they do approach maybe like the Chinese method or the elder method, where they will joke with you and they will give you nuggets of wisdom in parables or jokes or riddles and things like that to kind of nudge you along, because they're trying to help you develop your thought processes. That was a glitch in the matrix, by the way, but they're trying to help you.
I wondered about that.
Wow. Now see, you gave me more validation. Oh my God, Stefan, you do it
Okay,
every
so
time.
I've got another question regarding all of that. Do you know any information as to why the Lyrans
I think
are? Excuse me?
it looks like my internet is starting to get wonky on me. Let me check something.
Okay.
You know why? Because they're listening.
Yeah, we're hitting ET subjects along with other things.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I was wondering why the Lyrans.
Stefan is laughing. He's like, we're getting some. We're getting some.
Connection.
It's not that. It's, you could say it's a connection.
All right, the Lyrans. I believe those are the cat-like people. Is my connection getting better, or is it still kind of wonky?
Yeah, you're better.
You're better.
So why are the Lyrans creating hybrids, more and more human Lyran hybrids? I've been consistently told that that has been a no-no. And I'm curious as to why they're deliberately creating a hell of a lot of human Lyran hybrids.
All right, I'm not going to pretend to know the answer to that one, particularly when it comes to the Lyrans. But I do happen to have my boss's presentation in front of me, and I'm going to dig through it real quick to see if. All right. The question is why are they here? Why are we having increasing numbers of hybrids introduced into the human population? Why are they creating more of the different
Christopher
along the spectrum of human versus alien? All right. One idea is the fact that they want to bring the planet to a higher state of consciousness. And this is what some people refer to as the 5D or the ascension thing. I'm going to warn people right now, be very careful with that. And it's another subject, and it involves Christianity. And I know for some people that's a very sensitive topic. But you need to be very aware of what the 5D and the ascension thing is all about. Next up, the other reason for the potential reason for this increase in the hybrids on our planet, teaching us how to heal each other and the planet and end wars. Lofty goal, or to prepare us to join the Federation of Planets, or saving our planet so they can inhabit it later for themselves. That's no bueno. Recruit abductees to teach and mentor alien human offspring hybrids. And there's people like that Chris, you've met that are contactees or abductees and that have the ability to a hybrid and bring them in and to work with them for whatever that agenda is. In a lot of cases, even the hybrids don't necessarily know what their purpose is. Some might, some may not, at least from my experience. And that's as far as I'm going on that one.
Wow, that is amazing. And you know what, Katie, I know hopefully we don't have to cut the show because we do have Matt also. I know a lot of people are curious, and we hi, Matt. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. What I was going to ask before we go with Matt, you can ask, because this is a chat. The question from, I think it's Tony, I believe. She said, will we be going to a cashless society?
Yes.
Okay. There you go, Tony. There's your answer.
It's going to happen a lot sooner than people realize. Again, it's all already set up. All they're waiting for is the word from the guys that run the show. And then boom, that switch is going to be flipped and we are going cashless. It's already ready.
Wow.
Just wait for the word.
Wow, go ahead. Nice to welcome to the show, Matt. Do you have a question for our guest?
Oh, no, I'm just hopping on just to come in at the tail end. I want to see how everyone's doing.
Okay, hi. Nice.
Good to see everyone.
But it is kind of interesting because everything you're saying, everything Nikki's saying, it's just mind blowing. Like I said, I do want to have you in October, and that's in 2 months. So hopefully, if you have something, which I'm pretty sure knowing you, you have a lot of scientific and a lot of research. Um, Now, if there's something that if there's a lot of more shows or more things um that would be going on with you, then I would say for some reason I don't know why. Because remember how I asked you if it was okay, we had you, and I think remember saying November, but for some reason you said that October there's be a lot of stuff going on. So what I'm thinking or feeling is something to do with December. I don't know why I'm picking that up, but if there's nothing going on exciting or any news that you can give us feedback or more knowledge of what you can
Oh,
share
I
with the
promise you, things are going to get more exciting as the months go by. There will be no lack of things to talk about over the next months. To be honest, the next few years. What's happening now is just like the appetizer.
Yeah, it's the
Wow.
very beginning.
So by October, there's going to be a lot more juicy details, correct?
Oh, hell yeah.
This month is going to be a mind bender of explosions.
Yeah.
If people had any doubt that we're in a time of very weird shit, that'll be gone by the end of September. It should be gone by the end of September. Remember, things don't always go on what we want the timeline to be. They have a propensity to change the timeline or change the plan as it goes along.
If you could advise somebody who could time phase, time shift, what would you tell them?
If somebody could manipulate time, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, here's the deal with time. You can change small things that are of no consequence. But at the end of the day, the bigger things are going to happen no matter what you do. Our time construct has been arranged in such a way that it's so flexible. It has been designed that no matter what you do to it, what is meant to happen at a larger scale, things that are critical, are going to happen no matter what you do to the timeline. So if you could go back and you could do something like assassinate Hitler or whatever, if it's big and of a consequence, it will fix itself no matter what you do. If you tweak the small things that make no difference, it'll happen and it will make no difference in the timeline.
So basically, if you time travel or astral project, right? Correct? Because I astral project.
Astral projection and time travel are two different things.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Two separate things.
Exactly.
But under time travel, if it's not meant to be changed, it will not be changed, period. The creator has designed it so that it will not change if it's of consequence.
Interesting.
That's already been proven.
Wow.
They've already
anything you want to ask him, Christopher? Because Katie hasn't said anything, but this is becoming an interesting show. I know that eventually if Daryl has to do another show, I don't know if Daryl.
I'm a bit shaken up.
Are you okay, Christopher? To be honest with you, are you okay?
My guess.
Are you sure you're okay? Because if you need to get
up
out,
about Christopher, is there anything I can help you with?
yeah, because he's spread a lot of knowledge, and
His
maybe
mind is blown.
You know what it is, Stefan? Because you opened a lot of good subjects, and I think it freaked him out because you both are in the same field, but you probably knew a lot more than he did.
We approach things from different directions, but we're hitting the message.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's real quiet, because he doesn't. And usually with Christopher, he's never that quiet. That's why I'm like,
something's wrong.
I know. So, Nikki, can you get to him? Because you know him more than I do. Christopher, are you okay? Nikki, can you talk to him? Because
he's freaked out in such a way that's why I really want him to sit and breathe, take a number of really deep breaths and focus on your breathing and work with your breathing. You know how you can do that. And then I want you to ground yourself, and you know how to do that.
Yeah.
And I want you to go into a meditative state because that will help you dramatically.
Yeah,
but you've got to be able to get to that state. So it's the process, sweetie.
Yeah, and you'll be fine, Christopher. We'll have prayer. We'll pray over you if you're worried, because you know a lot of stuff, and you know that.
I'll get in
just
video
like,
call with him.
yeah, you know what? You can get in video call if you want to come on camera, Nikki, if you want to.
This second, no. I've had to get into grubbies because of what Max has been doing, so I'm not appropriately dressed.
Okay. Well then, okay. But like I said, Christopher, don't worry about it, because in reality, you know, I'm gonna tell you like this. I know that I've been a target. I acknowledge it, but I don't let it get the best of me. And like they say, knowledge is power. Don't let it consume you. You consume it.
Well, and Stefan is right in the sense of you have to, well, in all of it, but in the sense that you've got to look where your power lies at and access the different things that he had talked about for your situation. And once you align yourself with those different folks that can help you and that can train you in the different things that you need to be trained in, it's part of the process. It's a lot of the processes of what you've been going through already, and we can work on that together. And
yeah, and you're not alone.
You will do okay. It's just getting through the different processes. So we'll work through it together, sweetie.
So you'll be fine, and we've learned a lot from Stefan. I'm glad that we had him on, because
it's weird. I lost track of what I was listening to.
Yeah, and you must have went into like a trance, or so. It's just amazing. And Matt, now that you're involved, and you said that you're coming in, for some reason from you, I know that you're on the network too, but is there something that you're wanting to ask? Because I feel like you're wanting to ask, you just don't know how to ask, or you're just Matt. Like something that you're very interested.
Oh no!
I feel like you. Because I feel like you're drawn to him, and it's okay, because he knows his stuff, and I ain't gonna sit there and deny. He lives in the same town as me, so just the fact that I met him and then he's on the show, that's just it's like you learn a lot from different people, and by the way, he's a UFON person. He does they have their own program, so he knows a lot about stuff. With the COVID, when we were talking about the injection, do not take it. I mean, you can talk different subjects, and there's some things that he will not go. He'll say like a little bit, but then we have to do the research. So if you want to ask him anything, you can ask him.
Well, just to do justice, I just kind of came in at the end, so I missed a lot of it. So I unfortunately was not able to really comment on anything right now, but I'm just trying to catch up.
I think I know what you want to ask. I'll do it.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Aliens have been mentioned in religious text, returning, right? Coming back?
Yes. They're coming back.
For good or bad?
Depends on which aliens.
Yes.
I asked.
My apologies. I apologize. That was a smart ass remark.
I appreciate it. You took the words right out of my mouth, because I didn't even know what to say. So
you and I have very similar.
Thank you. That was perfect. That's all I needed. That was my out, and you did it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So you got your. So now
I wish I could have heard more of this. I just unfortunately came in at the end, but I would have loved to have heard more of this. I really would have loved this.
And you know what? I'm going to ask you, now that he mentioned the alien subject, I'm going to ask you something, Stefan. I've heard different stories that the aliens are not, how can I put it? They're with us. They're not fighting against us. And the government is what we call them. They are trying to prevent them to getting to us, because some of us are connected. I can't even, this is another thing, Stefan, I didn't get a chance to tell you. I've learned so much because somebody else told me, and I think Nikki told me this, and I'm not going to say too much. I'll just give you a hint.
Whatever you want.
The aliens one, I can't say which ones, but they are my ancestors. I've been validated, not just once, twice, about reincarnation, but I'm not going to say about who I wasn't reincarnated as or who I was in the past with the aliens, but there is a connection with me and them. Now, with that being said, without me telling you so much, could that be a reason why I was abducted? Or the people that have a connection with aliens, could there be a connection, like ancestry?
With you, it is ancestry because I believe your mother is gifted, and I believe it's gone back to your grandparents as well. I could be wrong.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So you and your mom told me that this was a family thing with you, and it turned out I was right. Because dealing with the alien abduction and the hybridization and other, there is an ancestral thing. So with that, back to the original question. On the surface, I'm going to tell you, yes, there are good aliens, and yes, there are bad aliens. It goes beyond that, but I'm not ready to go into that yet.
Right? I will.
Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
You may not, but I sure as hell will.
Go ahead.
Well, as an abductee, yeah, I have choice words for the MFers that like to,
those would be the
as
best.
I put it, yeah, they are. I'm sorry, I have a lot of anger towards them, and they like to test and do different things to the human body, and it's not pleasant. It's very painful. It's not always painful, but then you get the ones that also like to abduct and who do very unusual things to the body, but yet at the same time it's for very important positive purposes, and I can't quite go into that one at this given second in time, but
when the good guys, we'll call them good guys for sake of argument for now.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly.
They give you a gift, don't they? They've given you a gift.
Yes, they have.
If you
it runs in my family, actually.
Yes, it does.
I just recently, like within the last 2.5 weeks, found out that it goes generation upon generation upon generation. I was horribly shocked to find out just how far back it went. So, yeah, they do give gifts amongst other things.
Okay, now I'm going.
You know what? This show
now he's awake.
You know what? This show has been really opened so much doors. I can't even tell you.
Freaked out state, so I'm ready to ask it.
Christopher.
Health thing I've been advised to do by various spirits, right, Nikki?
Mm-hmm.
How do they know that someone should bug out?
Okay, rephrase that question again.
It's probably a question for the psychics here, probably, but it seems like spirit knows that when somebody should call it quits and bug out.
Okay, when you say bug out, you mean leave the area that you're at and go someplace safer?
Yes.
All right, I'll tell you right now, get away from the coast.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
What's your timeline for What's your timeline for that?
Uh-oh.
You don't have a definitive timeline yet. I'm still finessing that.
Yeah, that's still the same issue I'm going through.
I don't want to give a timeline and then be wrong and look like a jackass and then also cause undue panic. But there's a reason.
Well, yeah.
So many people are starting to sell their properties on the coastal areas and to go to places in, say, Texas Hill Country, for example.
Yeah.
I know this firsthand.
Yeah, same here.
They're going to Arizona, they're going to New Mexico, they're going to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They're all these people that have the ability to. They're leaving Florida, they're leaving the coast of Texas, they're leaving the East Coast, they're leaving California, they're leaving Washington.
California, yeah.
They're leaving Oregon. They're getting the hell out of there, not just because of the riots and that dysfunction, social dysfunction, they're leaving because they all sense something is happening. And that's part of the collective unconsciousness that I referred to before in the show. They don't know what it is they're feeling or where they're getting it from, but they know it in their bones that something is up. And so they're punching it, they're cashing out, and they're moving. But that point, if you're going to bug out, get away from the coast.
I was given Mike places to bug out to too.
Where were you given? And I'll tell you if you're hot or cold.
Two places here. One here in the U.S. and one outside of it.
You want to go to areas that have stable plates or stable cratons. You want to stay away from the edges of the cratons.
Exactly what I've been saying.
Stay away from the coasts. Stay off the island nations.
Katie, are we okay, Katie? Oh, okay. Yeah, Katie says that was time. I know Frederick.
I was told
Romania
and some parts of southeastern U.S.
Okay, because
I've got a question. How tall is it that you're seeing? Because I keep getting told thousands of feet tall.
I think that might be a bit much.
Yeah, that's what I said when I was given it. I told them they were full of shit.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, and whoever's passing that on, I think that's part of the fear agenda.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
A place like Romania is almost 1,000 miles from the ocean.
So I know, Frederick, if you have anything to say, you can right now, because Katie said we do have to go. I don't know if you want to speak, because Katie said there's time, because I guess they give me a little bit of extra time.
I'll talk to you after the show.
So yeah, because I know that she's got another, Daryl's got another show, I think.
Right or not.
So yeah, so I don't know, Frederick, do you have any questions before we go, or do you just want to, or you were just watching the show?
Fly on the wall.
I can't hear him because you're on mute. I can't hear him. I don't know if he's on. He's on mute.
You talking about Frederick? Frederick is the host for the next show, Chris.
Oh, okay. I'm
And so
sorry.
is
I
Matt.
didn't know because I've never seen him before.
Yeah,
That's why.
you've
But
been
guys,
bombarded.
I guess we just gotta go first.
Yeah, no, you've been bombarded by a host because there's another show and you've cut into it.
Okay, I'm sorry because I didn't
You're
know
right.
this was a. But Stefan, is there a way that they can get a hold of you?
Yes, go to YouTube, type in Team Brave New World. It should be pretty easy to find. I'm starting to pop up at the top of the search now. But again, Team Brave New World. And the contact information is at the below in the notes of the videos. I try to put out a show at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. I've also got a UFO type show that I do. So if you see sightings or anything unusual in the sky, you can also send that information in. If you don't want to file it via MUFON, you can send it into the show and we will discuss it online for everybody to see. Again, also go to Facebook, look for MUFON San Antonio in your Facebook search. We cover a lot of stuff there as well. Yeah, it's a great site. We've got a lot of connections and we can help people out.
Thank you, Stefan, for coming, and we'll definitely have you in October, dude. And I'm sorry, Katie, I didn't know. It was just that they gave me, I guess, a little extra time because everybody was talking and I didn't want to talk over everybody. I hate that. So
Always remember.
But
always remember that we have back-to-back shows now every single night of the week.
So, but hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed it. And for Stefan, we will definitely have you back in October, dude.
October
See y'all guys. See you guys on Friday on the House Worker Files and Global Enlightenment Radio Network. Good night,
God bless everyone.
Good night, everybody.